time to get into the trenches, dig into your purpose, and fire up your life's fulfillment. The Ambitious Vet Podcast starts now.
What's going on, Ambitious Vet? Thanks for diving right back inside the trenches with us again this week as we seek to provide you with the golden grenades you need to break through to new levels of satisfaction, fulfillment, and success in your life post-military. And keep in mind, this is after immediate transitional education has expired. We all know what happens after the first immediate transitional window, and this is where you can go and find the critical insights you need to continue to grow and advance in life post-military. Today, we're going to do a solo episode after taking a week off last week, and just thanks for just your grace and just forgiveness on not distributing out a podcast episode last week. I actually welcomed my first child into the world last Monday at 12:03 during lunchtime. Little Lucy Grace Hoffman. It was 8 pounds, 6 ounces, 20 and a half inches long. Ambitious Vet. And as soon as she came out, it's just like she had me wrapped around her finger immediately. And now it's just me and my wife trying to get back into somewhat of some new routines and how I've been describing it to a lot of my friends and family. And I'll describe the whole experience over the past, now it looks like 9 days since Lucy's been, kind of being in this world, as it's really like the Marine Corps, my military experience, right? Experiencing a lot of sleep deprivation, but also still having people, wanting to count on me for performance, right? And that's how I've been describing it, and I think it's a good place to be, right, as a new father. And for all you fathers out there that listen to this podcast, man, I give you kudos, because it's not an easy task in the first couple weeks and probably first couple months. So if you got any wisdom, please email that over to me, and I'm always looking for your golden grenades with that. So again, just thanks for being forgiving, and our commitment is ongoingly distributing out weekly episodes to really fuel your desire to become more in life in the trenches. So what do we got today for you, Ambitious Vet? Well, it's going to be a solo episode. And as I've been continuing to get closer and launching this community learning platform in the coming months and finding content contributors, positive psychologists, and just subject matter experts that are passionate about fueling veterans' emotional intelligence and finding their ideal career, not just something that pays the bills, but really is something that you're here and made to do in life. There's no greater feeling than doing the work that you're meant to be doing post-military. Am I right? So in this exploration, right, there was a topic that came up in my head this week, and I just wanted to share it. And it's this: how emotional intelligent veterans build social support systems that fuel solutions to life landmines post-military. Those landmines could be life changes, divorces, moving to a new state, you name it, broken relationships, losing your job, dealing with mental landmines like depression, right? That, how do emotional intelligent veterans get ahead of that and also build the support systems to make sure that they get unstuck and unstoppable in those situations? So hopefully you're hooked after that. So let's dive more into this, right? I want you to listen to this, Ambitious Vet, wherever you're at, from an area of life where you may feel like you don't have enough social support, and you don't even know how to acquire it for whatever reason. It may be your pride, ego, it may be a variety of different things, maybe lack of clarity, lack of communication skills, whatever it may be. But one thing I want to encourage you on right now, Ambitious Vet, is when I got out of the United States Marine Corps in 2012, I didn't have any social support. My family was in Missouri, and the only social groups that I had to plug into was the ones I threw myself inside of, which is mostly work, gym, and school. And even during those environments, Ambitious Vet, I still felt super alienated. And you know why? It's because I didn't feel connected to them. And I wasn't opening up fully to them. And therefore, they weren't opening up fully to me. So we were completely just disconnected, right? So I want to ask you, have you ever felt like people cannot relate to you? Or you cannot relate to people around you based on whatever internal or external evidence you make up in your head? See, back then, mine was I was afraid to look intense, serious, or not smart enough. Isn't that funny? Right? That's the little shit that gets in our way, landmines that get in our way to building the support systems that we need to continue to reach our full potential. But your job is not to buy into it. Again, another example here. Moving out to Dallas a couple years ago, my now wife, Maggie, in the midst of COVID a couple years ago, I didn't have a lot of social support groups out here other than Maggie's family. And in that time, we were still getting to know each other, and my own personal trust issues were constantly getting in the way of really building those trusting, loving, and just really enriched relationships with them. So here's the point I'm trying to make is how do emotional intelligent, ambitious vets build support systems in the midst of these landmines? Well, write this down. And if you're driving, don't worry about writing it down. Just take a mental note. First, notice where you're unhappy, unsatisfied, or where you would just like to improve. It doesn't always have to be a bad thing. But also realize that if it is a bad thing, it doesn't mean you're broken, right? Sometimes you just are looking to become better in something. And just like in the military, you bonded with diverse individuals through trial and tribulation, didn't you? That's how you built trust. That's how you look to left and right with these people that you never thought you would be friends with. And you're just like, look, I got your back. I got your six, right? So identify. First step is identify where you're unhappy, unsatisfied, or where you feel stuck. That's self-awareness. Second step would be identify networking events or other environments where people are looking to improve in the exact same area. If there's one thing I've ever learned in life, now being on this earth for 33 years, and hell, I got a lot more years to live. I don't try to claim as the wisest person in any room, but when you are quick to admit where you're stopped or going into environments where you're just like, hey, this is my commitment and this is where I'm falling short, this is where I need help, being very clear on that, that's where you attract the most quality people that have more resources to support you. Now, here's an example. Moving out here in Dallas-Fort Worth, right? When I got out here, I came from a very entrepreneurial city in San Diego, California, right? You had to hustle. Even if you had a job, you had to have a side hustle to afford the cost of living out there. And I came from that very innovative entrepreneurial type, setting to out here in a very, mostly conservative Republican area where everyone was talking about jobs and how tough they are and how they are always talking about how many hours they worked in their work week this week and how they just got to pay the bills and support the family. Nothing's wrong with that. Just a different conversation that I just haven't been around in a very long time, I think is the best way to describe it, right? So inside that environment, the first thing I did is I identified okay, yes, I can talk about jobs, hours I've worked and stuff like that, supporting the family. But also, where do I go to talk about people that are trying to solve bigger problems than just in their household, right? That's what we're talking about with trying to make an impact. And I just inquired around that. The first thing I did is I reached out to local veteran chamber of conferences, our local city chamber of conferences. I researched entrepreneurial events. Online, Google is our new common sense is what I always like to describe to people. And during that process, Ambitious Vet, is I found Capital Factory, which is, I think their claim to fame is they're the center of gravity for Texas entrepreneurs, right? Really cool resource, and we've been leveraging them over the past year and a half, and I love them. Amazing. And we found Bunker Labs, and my point is we found networking events, we started tapping into them, and things started evolving from there, right? So far we have identify where you want to improve. Second is identify events and environments that you want to improve in life together, like when you were in the military. And also one note that I want to add here is remember what I said actually in episode 165, defining your core values in your pursuit to effective self-management and life fulfillment. When you are clear on what fuels your happiness and unhappiness, which is really just your values in life, you can effectively begin taking actions to build support groups to share insights, resources, and etc. that just make a difference for them and your own life. In layman terms, know what pisses you off, what makes you super happy, and then that is your values. That's what you value in life. And understand that when you put yourself in environments of people that have those same kind of viewpoints, you're around your people. And your job is just to be completely honest with what pisses you off and what makes you super happy. And you'll find a natural, organic flow. Now, third thing before I leave you for this episode, Ambitious Vet, is learn how to balance communicating what your beliefs are and being open to new perspectives. You know, one of the biggest landmines I used to jump into and still jump into sometimes when I get super excited or I don't feel super confident about a topic I'm in conversations with someone in front of me is I jump to assumptions, trying to be smarter than what I really am without slowing down enough to clarify what they're actually saying. You've probably called me out through listening to previous episodes, and I can't hear you because I'm recording with another person, right? But my point is, don't jump to assumptions, slow down, clarify what people are actually trying to say when you don't understand it, and understand that there's probably at least 5 or 10 people around you that would do the same thing. Don't be afraid to look stupid. When you're afraid to look stupid and you're jumping to assumptions, all that really does is it pushes people away from you, right? Open your heart, open your mind, and trust will be there. So, Ambitious Vet, to sum this up, I want you to learn how to identify what you need. Find the groups and communities to just go through that trial and tribulation process with, like when we were in the military, and then learn how to communicate with them in a vulnerable and open way inside of your commitment to get better inside the trenches of life with them. Because I promise you, wherever you go inside these environments, those other people are just like you. They're trying to avoid suffering and figuring out how to be more happier in that area of life. Thanks for joining us, Ambitious Vet. Again, I'd really appreciate it if you share, rate and share this episode wherever you listen to your podcast episode. Obviously, the more you rate, the more you review it, the more you share it, the more people listen to it. And I promise you, in the coming months, as we continue to move closer towards launching this community learning platform, we're going to want as many quality veterans. And now you're listening to this, so I know you're a quality veteran that wants to grow and advance in life. We want your network listening to this podcast, because this will be the first place that we start communicating the first opportunities for the early adopters, the early subscribers that we will be supplying this exclusive invite-only platform to. We want you and your network to be a part of it. Until next time, Ambitious Vet, hold the vision and trust the process. Take care.
The Ambitious Vet is available on all popular podcast platforms. Go to vettrainingcoaching.com to subscribe, rate, and share with fellow vets.